Marcus wheeled his cleaning cart down the gleaming hallway of Titan Industries, nodding politely at the executives who barely glanced his way. After 3 years as the night janitor, he'd become invisible to most of them, just another face in navy blue coveralls pushing a mop bucket. That's why the marketing team thought it would be hilarious. "Come on. Sarah needs to lighten up," Brad from accounting said, lounging against the break room counter. "She's been moping since her breakup. We'll set her up with someone unexpected," Jessica from HR snickered. "The janitor? Brad, that's cruel. It's harmless fun. We'll tell her he's a facilities management specialist working his way through business school. She shows up, realizes what we did, we all have a laugh. She'll see the funny side eventually." What they didn't know was that Marcus had overheard everything. And what they really didn't know was why Marcus worked nights mopping floors. The restaurant was nice, not too fancy, but nicer than Marcus usually went. He'd traded his coveralls for a simple button-down shirt and slacks. When Sarah walked in, scanning the room nervously, he stood and waved. She was pretty with kind eyes that looked tired. As she approached, he could see her doing the mental math, trying to reconcile the rising business professional her friends described with the man standing before her. "Marcus?" she asked hesitantly. "That's me." "You must be Sarah. Please, sit down." She sat, and he could see the confusion flickering across her face. The silence stretched uncomfortably. "Look," Marcus said gently, "I know this is awkward. Your friends set this up as a joke. I'm the janitor at Titan Industries." Sarah's face flushed crimson. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I can't believe this is mortifying. For you or for me?" Marcus smiled, but there was something sad in it. "For both of us. This is so cruel. I should go." "You could," Marcus said. "Or we could have dinner anyway. The reservation's made, and honestly, I could use the company. No expectations. Just 2 people who got pranked having a meal." Sarah hesitated, then slowly sat back down. "Okay, but I'm paying. It's the least I can do." "Deal." 20 minutes later, they were laughing. Sarah told him about her disastrous breakup with a hedge fund manager who'd left her for his Pilates instructor. Marcus shared stories about the absurd things he'd found while cleaning offices, love letters, resignation letters that were never sent, and once, inexplicably, a completely intact birthday cake hidden in a filing cabinet. "Why do you work nights?" Sarah asked. "If you don't mind me asking," Marcus swirled his wine. "That's a longer story, but the short version is that I choose to." Before Sarah could press further, a commotion erupted across the restaurant. A tall woman in an expensive suit was berating their waiter, her voice carrying across the dining room. "This is unacceptable. Do you know who I am? I'm the CEO of Titan Industries. I could buy this restaurant." Marcus's expression shifted. He stood abruptly. "Excuse me for a moment," he said quietly. Sarah watched, confused, as Marcus walked directly toward the scene. The CEO, a woman Sarah vaguely recognized from business magazines, was red-faced and pointing at the trembling waiter. "Mom," Marcus said firmly, "that's enough." The entire restaurant went silent. The CEO turned, and her angry expression melted into shock. "Marcus, what are you doing here?" "Having dinner." "Which you're currently ruining for everyone." His voice was calm, but carried an unmistakable authority. "Apologize to this young man. Now." The CEO looked around at the staring faces, then back at her son. Something unspoken passed between them. She turned to the waiter. "I apologize." That was inappropriate. Her voice was stiff but sincere. Marcus nodded. "Thank you. Enjoy your evening, Mom." He walked back to the table where Sarah sat with her mouth open. As he sat down, he could feel every eye in the restaurant on them. "So," he said, picking up his fork, "that longer story about why I work nights. My father built Titan Industries from nothing," Marcus explained quietly. "When he died 5 years ago, he left it to my mother. She's brilliant, but the pressure, it changed her, made her hard. She forgot what it was like to struggle. I was being groomed to take over eventually. Corner office, VP title by 30, the whole path laid out. But I watched what that world did to people, how they treated the staff like furniture, how they forgot that success is built on the backs of people whose names they never learn." Sarah listened, transfixed. "So I quit. Took a job in my own mother's company where nobody would recognize me. Worked nights so I wouldn't run into her. I wanted to understand the business from the ground up, see it through the eyes of the people who make it actually function. Does she know? She found out 6 months ago. We've barely spoken since. She thinks I'm wasting my life throwing away my legacy. He smiled sadly. Maybe I am, but I've learned more in 3 years with a mop than I did in 6 years at Harvard Business School. Sarah reached across the table and touched his hand. For what it's worth, I think what you're doing is incredible. Even though your friends set you up with a janitor as a joke? Especially because of that, Sarah said. It says everything about them and nothing about you. Monday morning, Sarah walked into Titan Industries with her head high. She marched straight to the conference room where Brad, Jessica, and the others were gathering for their weekly meeting. How'd the date go? Brad asked with a smirk. It was enlightening, Sarah said coolly. I had dinner with one of the most impressive men I've ever met. We're seeing each other again this weekend. The smirks faded into confused glances. Wait, you actually like the janitor? Jessica asked incredulously. His name is Marcus, Sarah said. And yes, I did. More than I've liked anyone in a long time. She turned to leave, then paused at the door. Oh, and you might want to check your company directory. Turns out Marcus Harrison, the janitor, is also Marcus Harrison, the founder's son and heir to this entire company. The one who's been doing some kind of undercover evaluation of company culture for the past 3 years. The color drained from Brad's face. Have a great meeting, Sarah said sweetly, and walked out. Behind her, she heard the sound of chairs scraping and panicked voices rising. She smiled to herself. Marcus had texted her that morning. My mother wants to meet you properly. Fair warning, she's still scary, but she's trying. Also, Brad and Jessica might be unusually nice to you today. I may have mentioned our date in passing. Sarah typed back, You didn't? I absolutely did. See you Friday? It's a date. As she walked to her desk, Sarah couldn't help but laugh. She'd been set up as a joke, but somehow she'd found something real. And watching Brad squirm was just a bonus. Sometimes the best revenge was simply living well, and maybe, just maybe, falling for the janitor.